He has a diploma in child health, a master in public health, and a doctoral degree in clinical pharmacology. His research focus has been on skin-to-skin cocktail and the underlying neuroscience, what he called nutroscience. Most recently, he was on the research team of the World Health Organization lmmediate Kangaroo model care study. When do you desire, Niels?
Thank you very much indeed. And so, I'm waiting for my slide here. Thank you very much for being here. We've had 2 days of workshop. And I've been given the title, Kangaroo Mother Care and Survival of Infants of Low Birth Weight. And this is a report from the World Health Organization randomized controlled trial, which is published in May 2021, some time back already. And this is the dissemination pack information of the World Health Organization that concluded from this study that immediate kangaroo mother care improves survival in low birth weight infants. And so the immediate KMC study group, I'm beginning with them. Agnes finished with her team. But a group based in the World Health Organization and supported by Karolinska Institute. And 5 hospitals, 1 in India and 4 in Africa. I want to emphasize that I'm going to use this information from the World Health Organization, but I'm not a representative of them. I'm presenting this in my personal capacity. And therefore, there's a pack, and the whole pack is available to you. All the slides that I'm presenting to you are also available to you, each of them, but they're from myself mixed together. So, this is the 13th meeting of the International Network of Kangaroo Mother Care. The 10th took place in Rwanda, and the theme of that meeting was Kangaroo Mother Care, an effective way to improve the survival and the quality of survival of preterm and low birth weight infants, evidences and successes. The person you saw the picture there is Jana Patterson, a program officer of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And following the meeting, a planning grant was awarded to the Karolinska Institute. With considerable work from Jana Patterson, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation eventually gave $7 million to the World Health Organization, well, to specifically Rajiv Bahl, to whom we owe a debt, for having managed this program, sponsored and conducted by the World Health Organization by him. So this is the slide presenting the context. I want to present it my own way, really to say, we always believed that kangaroo mother care would have the potential to improve survival. And the potential is 400,000 deaths could be prevented. The problem is, those deaths mostly take place in the first week of life, when the baby is unstable and therefore not eligible for kangaroo mother care in the traditional way. So the logic is we have to do kangaroo mother care on unstable babies if we're going to save their lives. Thus, this is randomized controlled trial, multi-country, multi-center. And I hope that you will have seen this publication, and at least you will have a copy of this, so I don't want to be stuck in too much detail. I want to share with you additional information. Key though, babies 1,000 grams to 1.8, and they had to be weighed, obviously, before one could randomize them. And therefore, kangaroo mother care has to be initiated as soon as possible, because after weighing, they still needed to go through the rigor of a allocation of a randomization. So, and here is a record of the current World Health Organization that we do it for brief sessions and only continuous when clinically stable. That required that we very carefully made a definition of what clinical stable means that we could use when we then study in a randomized controlled trial. So I'm representing the same information only to say that 1 hour is a lot of work just to do the weighing, and in the process ensuring that the baby is resuscitated and that the baby is cared for. And then there is still the rigor of issues with the actual research process. So we allowed pragmatically a 2-hour boundary when we would no longer include a baby, and that was to ensure resuscitation. So, emphasis, babies were included specifically because they were unstable. They were randomized to skin unstable or randomized to conventional care to await that time. Here are the inclusion criteria. And the exclusion criteria, without going through them in detail for too long, babies are excluded for ethical reasons and for research practicalities. This is the real life situation that we're in. Here is the flow chart that you've seen, and I'm not going to get stuck on that. And the characteristics of the enrolled infants are presented here. So let me use the opportunity of describing the intervention, because this, I think, is the most important thing to share with you. So, 3 components are described in this slide, and the first is continuous skin-to-skin contact, and starting within 2 hours of birth. Note, mother or surrogate, and aiming at 20 hours a day. I want to unpack that. This required a considerable amount of training and monitoring. And this was training given to healthcare providers to do initiation, to transport babies from the birth environment to the NICU environment, and to support mothers with the technology that they were going to require. And the binder was used. And there was continuous monitoring. The method used is the same standardized operating procedure that was done in Epistos. And there's an 18-minute film of this procedure. The link is here. You'll get the slide. You don't have to photograph it because you'll get the slides, but you may photograph it. And so you can see the training that was provided was totally modeled on the SOP from Stockholm and Stavanger. This is not a low-income study method. This is state-of-the-art care. And here you see training being done in Norway to test the SOP, and the same training being done in Tanzania of the same SOP. So this is not a third world method. This is state-of-the-art care for immediate skin-to-skin contact. And I want to, Epistos finished later but launched before the KMC. So, however, it says providers need training. Actually, this was done by Kangaroo mother care supporters. These were lowly paid people without a qualification who were trained to do some very simple things that I need to show you. They initiated KMC in the delivery room because they also opened the randomization envelopes. They were trained to transport the babies from delivery environment to the NICU. They supported the mothers practically with monitoring and with equipment. They were putting on the binders. These things are not in the job description of a midwife, of anybody. And if they're not in a job description, they had to be done critically because they're part of the intervention. Kangaroo mother care supporters. And the most important thing I want to emphasize was that the training had to do with a respectful attitude. And so the mother is sitting on the floor, the trainers will sit on the floor. On the right-hand side there, the mother's sitting on a chair, the Kangaroo mother care supporter will go right down there and look her in the eye and work with her closely. And therefore, the Kangaroo mother care supporters came to do all these tasks with a respectful attitude. And therefore, here you see at the bedside, there's immediate initiation and presence of a Kangaroo Mother Care supporter. The Kangaroo Mother Care supporter is transporting the baby to the different units. The Kangaroo Mother Care supporter collects colostrum in the first half an hour or so, and does so repeatedly and gives it again. The Kangaroo Mother Care supporter is the one that supports the surrogate mother interaction to achieve continuous. The Kangaroo Mother Care supporter shows the SAFE technique. In the last 2 days, we've had some questions, and I want to just slip in some information about the SAFE technique that shows also here with twins. And the key thing is that there is a tight cotton, non-stretch wrapper that fixes the baby's head to the mother's sternum in the sniffing position that ensures a patent airway. There is also a tightness around the baby which provides for containment. And there is also the shirt that puts the baby into the fetal position, which supports diaphragmatic breathing. There is a 9-minute detailed film on this also available to you. And then this is a 6-hour transition period that you saw Agnes describing also, which we had looked at before. And we do not put the babies flat in this time. They want to be stabilized at an angle. And they need to be observed for regulation, which is what I would be calling this. And very specifically, this technique wants to support the sleep cycle. And therefore, this is a busy technique. Only during the sleep cycle is the baby tied on. When it rouses, the shirt is loosened and suckling opportunities are given. The Kangaroo Mother Care supporters had to record every time they put the baby at breast. They were never forced to breastfeed. They only put baby at breast to allow the baby's competences to be expressed. And finally, the Kangaroo Mother Care supporters would ensure that the mother could sleep in skin-to-skin contact. Most rules forbid mothers to sleep in skin-to-skin contact. This study requires that safe sleep should take place. So, the second major part, I'm pulling number 3 here, provision of required medical care for mother and baby in skin-to-skin contact without separation as much as possible. This required profound systems changes. Policies had to be changed, and the mother NICU concept, that there is a mother bed in the NICU. 2 hospitals were able to do new units. 3 hospitals could put mother beds into existing units. And in those existing units, all the requirements for neonatal care surround a mother bed, so that full-on level 2 intensive care unit care can be provided. And very specifically, respiratory support. 3 neonatologists were part of a support team that spent training time to ensure that this could be done. And now the mother is not in the usual place. She has to be visited by the obstetrician in this unit. So this requires a deep level of collaborative care. Obstetric care continues in the NICU because NICU care started in the labor ward. And this seamlessness was a critical factor. And therefore, there is a minimum care package for mothers that has to be practiced in the NICU environment. Profound systems change. Björn has taken this picture. At the same moment, the neonatology team and the obstetric team are doing rounds. They're on either side of the bed. And this is a shared environment. So, equipment was provided to all these hospitals. And the emphasis here is that the state-of-the-art care that we were doing on skin-to-skin had to be matched also by the minimum care package. Standard equipment given to all the hospitals, so that this could be done in skin-to-skin contact. Sorry, that's a very new feature. This baby is standing up because the surrogate is going to hand over this baby to the mother. And this is being done with skin-to-skin contact and with CPAP ongoing. And therefore, there is the mother that you see now having been transferred the baby. The baby did not come off CPAP, and the baby has been on CPAP continuously. This training was done by the neonatal team. And so the full package of essential newborn care guidelines had to be combined also with infants in a new place of care. And so the control group, continuous KMC, could only be initiated after stable. Stable was measured every 6 hours and recorded as part of the database of results. And when a sufficient number of points of definition of what is stable was achieved, the baby could be transferred to the Kangaroo Mother Care ward. The control group got the same minimum package of care that you're very familiar with as neonatologists. Stay on that. This was also monitored continuously in repeated visits by the World Health team and by the Karolinska team. Now, control group. Here it says that the intervention included counseling and support for exclusive breast milk feeding and breastfeeding. Actually, this was the same for both groups. And so, early and frequent colostrum, the babies were randomized at 1.3 hours, but the first colostrum was collected at 0.5 hours. So all the babies got the first dose of colostrum. And therefore, here you see the model from the Stavanger hospital. There is a significant amount of colostrum in the breast in the first hour and never in the second. And it's the collecting of that first hour colostrum that predicts a better supply at 3 weeks and 6 weeks. And the Kangaroo Mother Care supporters were responsible for doing this. And the control group had an outcome of 85% exclusive breastfeeding at 29 days. That's a very, very high figure. The team was disappointed that there was no difference, but Kangaroo Mother Care alone and doing the colostrum is responsible for this. And therefore, the other final function of the Karolinska visiting was to ensure that the sites were harmonized. All 5 sites did the same high quality of Kangaroo Mother Care. All 5 sites did the same high quality of the minimum package of care. And we looked very carefully for a differential. The sites had to be the same between each other. And at each site, the quality of clinical care had to be the same to both groups. Very specifically, expressly, we followed through to this. I have 4 minutes to finish. The initiation of these babies. Control baby started after 2 days, skin to skin after 1 hour. And so the control group got the very highest possible quality of Kangaroo Mother Care. Let me first present the results. I did this because I had to keep time. I will keep time, Salvador. Immediate Kangaroo Mother Care. Intervention deaths, 191. At the point in which the p-value is 0.001, we have a 25% mortality reduction. And the ethics committee, the data safety monitoring board, is watching every single death until it gets to this value, because it's totally in a mortality study. We do not want a single unnecessary death on our consciences. So when the value reached 0.001, that case resulted in the Data Safety Monitoring Board recommended that recruitment be stopped. And so here are the results of a number of other studies, and the blue color I've indicated there is showing the outcome with respect to lowering mortality. So this is the database for 40% lowering of mortality. I just want to emphasize how much more higher quality the control group received of Kangaroo Mother Care. And now in red, the difference. that when we do this on the unstable baby, we are getting a very much bigger difference. And so, 2 more details. Hypothermia, very different, not expected. Not surprising. But the most surprising thing of all was that the reason for the lowered mortality was decreased sepsis. And for 40 years, all of us have believed that mothers must never come near their babies because they will infect them. And the evidence is exactly the opposite. Maternal presence profoundly protects the infants against sepsis. I'm on my home straight. So, this forest plot shows that it didn't matter if the babies were big or small. They were still having the same good outcome. It didn't matter if they were young or old. The gestational age didn't matter. It didn't matter if they were singleton or twins. It didn't matter if they were cesarean or vaginal. The same benefit was seen. Now, this is not in the publication, but I wish to share it with you. One of our sites did not show the same pattern as all the others. Ghana. And the very strange thing was that Ghana had one of the lowest mortality. It had the lowest mortality of all African sites. And the reason was they had a totally new hospital in which there was an air conditioning unit and in which the neonatal and obstetric departments hadn't sorted themselves out. So they were not able to start at 1 hour. They started at 4 hours. And they were not able to achieve the 10 hours. I hope that you can see here that not immediate and not continuous doesn't lower mortality. And therefore, I think it's legitimate for the World Health Organization to conclude kangaroo mother care started immediately after birth is critical for saving lives. And the new guidelines that were released just 1 week ago today, kangaroo mother care started immediately after birth. The World Health Organization advises immediate skin-to-skin care for survival of small and preterm babies. Skin-to-skin contact with a caregiver, known as kangaroo mother care, should start immediately after birth, without any initial period in an incubator. This marks a significant change from earlier guidance and common clinical practice, reflecting the immense health benefits of ensuring caregivers and their preterm infants can stay close without being separated after birth. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bergman. So it's the turn of Kim Chi Luam. She worked as an neonatal